Good morning, sexy souls. How are you all doing? Welcome to Weird and Woo Woo, where I'm weird. We all get a bit woo woo. Welcome. Okay, so this is going to be another of the mass exodus location change. For 2025. Anyways, I have a lot coming through, and I have been going like this what's next type of energy, right? Okay, now what? Okay, now what? It's like somebody might feel just a tad bit frazzled, or like they're trying to stay on task and it might be a little bit difficult. I'm gonna go ahead and get my PSA out of the way, and then we'll discuss things. You are a sovereign being over your life. You get to determine if, how, when, where, why any of these messages might apply. So whatever you do, don't Cinderella shit to make it fit, okay? All right. So I am getting, let me just say, the reason they're really pushing me to do some of the location change readings, because it's a top priority for them right now. It's the mass exodus, location change, rearrangement, blah, 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 blah. With that being said, I do want to get to some of the other reads, so I do apologize, but I've had technical difficulties. And so when I do have the opportunity to do a reading, they're going to pull me to that first. And so I know there's a lot of other things to discuss. There's a lot of other messages people are needing or guidance. However, for now, these are the readings that will get priority. If I have limited time, I will tap into that first. So, okay. It will not always be like this. It is just like this for right now. All right, let's move along. I was getting like something already has the ball rolling. Something already has the ball rolling. Like things are starting, have been initiated. And it feels kind of like when you are facing something, okay, that where you're like, there's a lot to do. And you're like, my sister gets this way when she's cooking for a big family meal for like the holidays. She can be like, okay, and sometimes it's hard for her to delegate because she's like, okay, hold on, let me get my brain straight. Like, what do I do now? And she has to like go through her checklist and go through kind of thing. I do that sometimes. You know, if there's like a deadline approaching and you're trying to make sure before you go on a trip, you're kind of like, okay. And you kind of like go through your list and you're like, what's next? Because you're so, the pace at which something is going to do this. It feels as if there's not really a lot of time this isn't a leisurely energy where it's like, oh, I'll get to that. And like 3 weeks later, you get to that. That is not the case. This reading is going to entail something in regards to energy where it's like, as soon as one task is done, now you move on to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next, and the next, right? So, that being said, that is what I'm picking up on moving into this. And so we are going to pick up from there. So, we're going to start with, gosh, it's like, I feel like I'm even saying it in my, like, okay, yeah, it's like, it is that energy. Yet I feel like somebody's in a groove. Like, it may also be, do it now while I am invested, while I am motivated, while I have the drive, the follow through, the focus, the whatever it is. That also might be the thing. That might be part of the time constraint. So. And in a way, it feels good to have progress on something, to have something moving forward. Utilize logic, reason, and common sense. Not everything do you need to have spirit. I'm going to move my coffee because that gives me a little bit of light. You don't need spirit to spell everything out for you. Like, some of the things that you're going to be taking care of, you just know. It's logic, it's reason, it's common sense, is what I want to say. And we are talking about the earth element, which is very grounded, practical tasks that can be taken care of, very practical aspects of this. Beware who you trust. Imagination clouds your judgment. I'm getting the clouds of judgment. I don't think it's so much your imagination. It feels more like something illusory. Something that's, they're giving me the idea of a mirage. Like it appears to be something that it's not. So it's skewing what you're perceiving. And they're telling me wolf in sheep's clothing. Wolf in sheep's clothing. Beware who you trust. There's a need to not react. We have at the bottom the fire element, which is reckless actions will lead to conflict. Okay, so this would be like if you have particular people. Okay, so they're telling me both. So I was going to say if you have particular people that it's like you know not to trust and you wouldn't with a 10-foot pole. Because again, there's wolf in sheep's clothing. This would be somebody who you may absolutely know not to trust. You may know what they're capable of. You may know some of their nasty habits. But it's also that might be where the mirage is. Like, oh, they can't do anything. They're too weak for this, or they're too, that's out of their wheelhouse, or something to that effect. Like you're viewing them as a sheep in just like innocent, like, oh, there's nothing there. They wouldn't do anything like that. Listen here, you know damn well they would. And you may be thinking, oh, I'm over exaggerating it in my mind. If you were to go, you know what, they are capable, they'll do this. It's like you're almost telling yourself, oh, quit being dramatic. Oh, don't think like that because it's whatever. It is something. Hold on. It's like that's part of the mirage. It's kind of like some sense of self-doubt. I feel like somebody's hampering themselves on what their gut and their intuition is saying in regards to someone. And it's like knowing what somebody is capable of, but yet then diminishing it, like you don't want to be over dramatic, or you don't want to give somebody more credit than what's due. It's like, oh Lord, you're handing, it's like you think you're handing your power away. Okay, so this is something that I dislike in the spiritual community, when they're like, like nobody can do something against you without your permission. In one aspect that applies in a lot of situations. There's also a lot of situations where people absolutely 500% do not give any kind of permission and shit still happens to them. I mean, let's use some low-hanging fruit here, okay? Slavery in the United States or anywhere. Are you fucking kidding me? In a practical sense, like if you want some low-hanging fruit, people can't have power over you. And let's not forget the connection, as above, so below as above type of situation, right? Like the idea that if it exists here, it can exist in all layers of dimensional reality. And so all dimensions in reality. It's one of those things where it's like, that's just not true. There's a level of you better be careful with that kind of fucking arrogance. And so, like as long as I just believe it won't happen, it's like, that doesn't make you not a target. That doesn't mean that collectively somebody can't overpower your sense of will. Like, I live in duality, guys. I am, everything has duality. It can exist, it can happen, it does happen. And so this underestimation of what someone or something is capable of, I feel like is a part of the illusion or the mirage that you're seeing. Like, you're seeing somebody as less capable of doing something than what they are. And this may even be a group of people. I think this, let's use another low-hanging fruit. There's a lot of people that underestimated the bullshit that the orange man could do. He can't do it. Oh, yes, he can. Like, people have underestimated. They've you know, conspiracy theorists, and they're crazy. Okay. Until it happens. And then they're right. You know, and like, people would like diminish, like, oh, you think this is gonna happen? Oh, you know, you may have even like, oh, I'm over exaggerating. I'm being too dramatic with this. Oh, it's not, that's not even close to reality. There's other, and it's like, no, you know. And I remember doing a reading before where I was like, reality is more the lie than the vision. Like, the magic is more reality. So anyways, and I feel like there's some kind of like, but if you're real honest with yourself, even logic, reason, and common sense would tell you, okay? So there's a need to pair these two. Use a bit of reason and common sense, and how you choose to, and see these two together, kind of Merkaba. It's like, don't underestimate. Don't underestimate what can happen, or what people can do, what people are capable of. So again, this could be on a larger scale. This could be your government officials. This could be somebody directly in your life. Don't underestimate what could happen. Like with the raids that are happening and deportations that are happening in the United States. Like, don't underestimate. Don't assume that you wouldn't be a fucking target. That would never happen. I'm just being dramatic. I should know. No. Don't underestimate it. Don't assume that you're safe. That was something yesterday. There's like an unsafe option and a safe option, right? Beware who you trust. They're a wolf in sheep's clothing. And you're imagining, there's some mirage, some illusion that you are buying into, that when reality hits, it's like going towards something because you're believing something that's not real, and then getting to that destination and realizing you've put yourself in a worse situation, right? Because that mirage doesn't exist, and now you're further out. You know, like a desert, when you think you see water, and it's like you just put yourself further out into the sun, like you're putting yourself in a worse situation. So I think that this is spirit coming back and saying, don't believe the mirage, and don't underestimate what people are capable of. And it's funny that I started out with a person. Don't underestimate what a person. Now, again, this could be happening at multiple levels, or just one level for you specifically. So it may be governmentally, it may be like within the family, it may be somebody within your social circle, it could be somebody within your work. Like, don't underestimate. It's like, the part that you're underestimating is the level of power and influence that they can have. You're thinking, I know they're capable of this, but they don't have the leverage or the means. People who are capable will find the leverage and means. I'll tell you that much. They will keep going until something sticks. And so that's what this feels like. Okay. So don't let the you think you're overinflating. You think it's your imagination. But I want to say, remember, like, reality is less real. What seems like a vision or illusory is the reality versus the other. And so, you know, you're trying to diminish like what you see as a potential, what you may be envisioning, because it doesn't match the reality. And they're like, And so to a certain degree, this could be a misuse of your logic. But I want to say, take all information into account, and understand and realize that you have to make moves strategically. Don't overreact too quickly is what I want to say. And I feel like saying, if you know somebody has this potential, it may behoove you to make moves to remove yourself. Like, that's where logic and common sense, and not taking reckless actions. Like, I see some people, let's use what's happening on the stage for the United States, who are all out, like, you know what this person is capable of. They're showing you evidence of it, and you're almost like enticing and poking the bear or the tiger or whatever it is, with things that you're like, okay, for example, people are trying to organize and they're putting things out on social media, and it's like you are inviting people to come in who would rat on you. Like, this is not the right way to do it, because you're drawing attention. You are now going to become a target, and then you will be ineffective in whatever it is that you want to do, right? And so on a more personal level, it's like, don't bring attention to yourself. It's not the time. Reckless actions will lead to conflict. You, like, there's a card in here that's sly and subtle approach is needed. That's what we need out here. That's what I want. Where's the, like, I don't know why, there it is. A sly and subtle approach is needed. We're putting this bad boy out here because that's exactly what the fuck this is. And so, and this idea of, like, that might also be where it's like, but good will win out, and blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, and I'm just going to, if we just all, and it's like, you are not being strategic. You are not being smart. Spirit didn't lead you through a million lessons for you to just sit there and abandon your wisdom. You have gone through the hell that you've gone through so that you can learn the lessons of any soldier. And this is an analogy, but it's also very much reality. It is, you must be strategic in how you approach the next few months, because you may place yourself in a situation that does strip you of all your power and ability to do anything that you know needs to be done. And so be wise. And wisdom is the appropriate application of discernment. Discernment is achieved through lived experience, lessons learned. You get me? Okay. So let's go ahead. I feel like this is, and I want to reiterate, because we've been talking like things can happen at like a macro, micro, meso, meta level, meta being global, macro being like countrywide, governmental wide, meso would be like community or statewide, and micro would be like a very personal level, right? In your individual life, personal, like someone close to you. And so I want to say, just be very careful of this and be mindful. And I want to say, maybe, and again, this is not a call to not be activists, to not speak out, to not, you know, set boundaries and create, you know, because yesterday we did talk about, it's time to say it. It's time to speak it. It was like put your thoughts out there. This is also like, but be smart about it. Like, get fucking for real. If you go half cock, you're not going to also, this isn't an invitation to be stupid and abandon wisdom. Okay? Okay. All right, so let's pull in some, all right, Sun Knight Tarot. Okay, I don't want to do a book. All right. All right. Let me redo this. I did see Justice on the bottom of the deck. The Devil. 9 of Wands. This is to take defensive action appropriately. This is to take measures that protect the self, that protect you. You need to be taking measures to protect yourself from the devil, from the thing that would want to trap you, keep you stuck. Okay? 9 of Pentacles. High Priestess and the 4 of Cups. I feel like you need to so things will be revealed to you, things will be shown to you. There's just a pragmatic energy to this. This High Priestess has her book open and it has the egg in her palm of her hand. This is a new beginning. It came out with the 4 of Cups, but this 4 of Cups tends to be a bit different. She's always got her foot firmly planted in her intuition, connected with Spirit. She has received the cup from Spirit, but she knows she needs to take care of these, like almost like loose ends. We've talked about that before. There's a need to take care of certain loose ends, which means there may be a time frame that you have to mind your P's and Q's. Like, I'm getting like even somebody who is thinking, it's like what you're thinking is not, like what you see is not crazy. That's actually reality. You're not crazy for thinking it. You're not crazy for thinking, oh, I should do X, Y, and Z. It is the mirage is, oh, the underestimation. The underestimation is the mirage. It is the thing that it's like, that's what would cloud your judgment, okay? And so, but just because what seems fantastical is closer to reality than, you know, doesn't mean that you don't take grounded, practical steps, right? Again, we don't want to take any kind of reckless action that draws any type of attention to yourself. Because at that point, then you become a target. And this could be like on a collective level, like then you end up being the target of somebody's whatever. On an individual level, if there's somebody in your life, it's kind of like, and your best case scenario, like not best case, shit, low-hanging fruit. If there's somebody that can be dangerous in your life, let's say you are somebody who escaped a bad relationship, but you are now looking to make certain moves, you're going to need to, whatever moves you make, tie them into other practical things so that you don't draw attention to yourself as you start to make moves, because you know what the person is capable of, you know what they can do. And if you bring an alert to yourself and then make yourself a target again, of their narcissism or whatever else. And I think that's really what it is. It's like if you allude to or shoot up any, if you change up your cadence, your rhythm, and the way in which you maneuver too much, you're going to bring attention to yourself. You're going to alert certain people. And so you don't want them, you don't want their attention on you in that way. Like if their spidey senses go, there is a sense of moving in silence. And silence just doesn't mean that you don't speak it. It's like you need to continue to show some semblance of continuity with how you have been moving in order to be able to make the transition or shift, okay? So again, if you bring too much attention to yourself, then that's going to, you know, because you still have loose ends to tie up. Again, if there's some things that need to be taken care of really quick. These are kind of like, these are, in that one reading, it was like, these are your responsibilities. So there's certain things that you've got to like finish out and then, or put back up on the shelf, right? Like, it's not even like you have to continue to carry these. This is just, you don't want to just like throw them and run. That clang, 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 clang is going to draw the attention of something that you don't want. So you need to, there's a strategy with this guy, a sly and subtle approach. I'm telling you, the serpent is the overall energy here. And I know it didn't come out and I grabbed it, but I was like, nope, that bad boy deserves to be on this table. 9 of Pentacles. This is to gain your freedom. This is to have this new beginning in your life that is meant for you. Here's the scroll rolled up. There's the High Priestess. It's, you know what is supposed to happen, but you know what you've got to do to get to that. And so there's this sense of being, I feel like being a chameleon and blending in as you do certain things. It's kind of like, again, when I say like tie things to certain, like, you know, I almost don't want to say it because I don't want the information out there for someone else to discover. So, like, you can't have a smoking gun, so to speak, for someone to go, ha, see, whether it's person, whether it's a narcissist in your life, your family, it's like you can't give them the ammo, right? They are the gun, but you can't give them the ammo. And so there's this, like, you don't want them shooting something your direction. And so it's kind of like, that's the reason you have to, again, stay on your P's and Q's, things like that, because you're heading for something new within your life, a new beginning and freedom, personal freedom. So when you're making some of these decisions, this is what they want you to consider. Reality is less real, and the intuition and information that you're receiving, High Priestess, is more real than you realize. And to not dismiss it as if it's just some fantastical or fanciful imagining, right? But also to not go off half cock with this. Like, just because you receive something, I mean, this is the reason why some people are like, I receive information, but I don't ever put it out there because I know the attention that it'll put on me. So you may be receiving certain downloads, information, visions, and it's like you just want to scream it to the world, but then eyes are on you. Again, some won't take it seriously because when you present it very fantastical, they're like, oh my God, whatever, right? So they're kind of like, don't do that. But also, it puts people in your environment looking at you like, what the fuck's up with da-da-da, right? And even on governmental level. So like, you have to, there's a way to share what you receive, because you are meant to do that. That was yesterday's. You are meant to share that. But don't be stupid about it. Those are my words. Be mindful when you make these decisions. Again, these are all decisions regarding your this new beginning, this start, this fresh start, this egg that needs to hatch. And these decisions will determine if something comes to fruition within your reality. Hierophant is that. Again, Hierophant is also talking about being careful of things that have more power than you, institutions, organizations, things like that. Be careful of who you associate with, who you, oh, it's no big deal. This is aspects in your life, traditions, viewpoints, organizations, well-established, well-rooted entities, institutions, individuals that wield a lot of power because of this, that can disrupt. They have a lot of influence on your reality, whether you like it or not. Okay? And so for that reason, that's where, because we, in flanking the Hierophant, we have the Two of Swords and the Two of Wands. You really must have this awareness smack in the middle of every decision that you make. And it's decisions in how you maneuver, what you choose to do. Okay? During this revolutionary period in your life. This is the death rebirth process. Okay? So if you want to bring this thing, if you want to let this egg hatch, and you want to bring this into fruition, you want to give birth to it, because again, it's the notion, idea, and possibility as far as the High Priestess is. But if you want to bring it into reality, if you want to create what you know to be true for you, what you're receiving through the High Priestess into your reality, because that's the other thing of the Hierophant, is creating the reality external to you that matches what you are meant for internally, right? And so it's kind of like as within, so without. It's creating the world external to you that reflects your true desires and wants and moralities, right? So there's this idea of, even for activists, to be very mindful right now. Okay, there is a book called Tempered Radical that might be beneficial to a certain degree. I know a lot of social workers, social justice individuals. Let me tell you who it's written by. I'm just going to throw this out there. Tempered Radicals, how people use difference to inspire change. No. Yes. It's bringing okay, so let me Harvard Business Review. Tempered radicals draw principally on a spectrum of incremental approaches. Okay, and so that's what it's about. It's it wasn't by her. There was another one. Oh, something doesn't want this to come out. Deborah Meyerson. There's another one. Oh, it's still by Deborah Meyerson. I don't think that was the one, but here I'm gonna give it to you because it's the one that's coming up. Tempered Radicalism and the Politics of Ambivalence and Change. Well, that's the one that ooh, I know I just showed all that to you, but whatever. Okay, anyways, so look that up for those where it's like, and this is even for spiritualists who are receiving information. It's like be fucking smart about how you go about this. You've lived this in a past life, I want to say. People have come at you for the way in which you operated, the way in and we've had to fight against the powers that be that wanted to squash us out. Okay, I'm just going to say the powers that influenced reality, our reality. everybody calls it the witch wound. To some degree or another, it's just a terminology for it. It's happened over and over and over again in the realities of this existence, this world, and it happens at every single level. So this is not just for those like we're not talking about just a macro level events and that you're responding to macro level events. We're talking about even individuals in your life. If you are making moves, if you are choosing to do certain things, and if you bring attention to certain avenues, like if you sit there and spout out, hey, we're going to do this, I'm going to do this. Well, there you go. Now they're going to find a way to stop you from doing it. Okay. And so there's organizing, there is preparing, there is getting the ball rolling, and then there is dumb fuckery. Okay. Use some fucking common sense. Spirit is begging of you. Them telling you to use your voice was not an invite for you to act stupid. Alrighty. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think that is, and again, I want to harp on the idea that this is also about somebody individually in people's lives that you need to be careful and wary of, and be aware of, and they need to be smack in the middle of a lot of these decisions, like your awareness of what they're capable of, right? And yeah, I know you don't want to dramatize, and you don't want to like have these imaginings and all kinds of stuff, and so you try to keep yourself in line and all that kind of shit, you know, like, oh, don't get dramatic. But you need to know, and you need to be aware, and you need to use that. Use your common sense. I mean, it would it's also not using your common sense to take that into consideration. You come by that knowledge, again, it's knowledge earned through the battles and the lessons you've had to endure in this life. It is just as much real. Okay? And so, in fact, it's more real. So, do not ignore that. Use a sly and subtle approach. You are making decisions to free yourself from this. Be aware as you do such, is what I want to say. Okay? Because they will parade around. Either society deems it as such, the people around you will deem it as such, or you yourself are like, oh my gosh, but a wolf in sheep's clothing. Be very aware of this energy as you continue to move. This is pertinent and important in regards to the changes that are happening. The location changes, the mass exodus that we've talked about. This is exceptionally important. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope everybody has a fantastic, wonderful day. I hope the message finds who it is meant for. And I will see you all again in the next read.